People ask me, how can you afford to spend so much time in Mexico and travel when you're living off of Social Security? And the answer is I've built several small income streams besides my Social Security. So I'm going to share those with you in this video. Hi, I'm Peggy. I split my time between Florida and Mexico, and I'm sharing what I'm learning about retirement, travel, and living well on a realistic budget. So if that interests you, please subscribe. After I retired, my health was pretty unpredictable, so I couldn't really get a job. I couldn't promise an employer that I would show up every day. I just had too many sick days. But I also couldn't live off my Social Security alone. So over time, I've built several small income streams, and I'm going to share those with you. Some of these ideas make me money every month, and some just once in a while, but together, they've made a huge difference in my life. My Social Security covers my basic expenses, pretty much. But everything else helps me build a life that I want. Pet sitting. Pet sitting is probably my favorite way to earn some extra money. If you love animals, it doesn't feel like a job. It's company for me to have these animals in my house. When I'm in Florida, I average about $800 a month in pet sitting. Now, I am quite sure I could make a lot more money, but I am gone for about 6 months of the year on and off, so it's difficult to get regular customers. When I do get a regular customer, I tend to lose them over time because I'm just not available. So if it's something that interests you, just keep that in mind. It's not like easy to get the jobs. Now, I started off in 2016 with Trusted House Sitters, where um you pet sit in exchange for lodging. So I was using Trusted House Sitters for traveling. So I had some references, and I set up a rover.com profile um, with those references and links to those references. So that helped. Now, Rover really does promote you when you're new. So it's pretty easy to get jobs right away when you're new on Rover. Over time, word of mouth, referrals, repeat customers. I listed myself on Nextdoor, the Nextdoor app, and in some different Facebook groups. So I've been able to keep pretty steady work when I'm in Florida. My biggest income stream is from renting out my house while I'm traveling. Every winter, I pack my bags and I head to Mexico. It's too cold here where I live. I know it's Florida, but I'm a big baby. I like to be warm. Anyway, the peak season here is January, February, March, so it's pretty easy to rent the house during that time. In fact, I have regular people, the same people who come every year. Um, I've tried to rent the house different times of the year and I haven't really succeeded. However, I am just about to try. I learned about renting to travel nurses, so just about to try to see if I can rent to the traveling medical professionals. Traveling nurses contracts, I guess, are 13 weeks, so that would be perfect if I could get the fall and early winter before my regular customers come in January. Now, this isn't something that's going to work everywhere, but if you live in an area that has seasonal vacations, you can rent your house out and go somewhere cheaper. I advertise my house on Airbnb and also in local Facebook groups. There are groups like Florida Snowbirds and things like that that I've joined and promoted my house. I put a bunch of pictures on. I made a Facebook page for my house so that I can just direct people right to that Facebook page. Now, for the traveling nurses, I'm about to start advertising on Furnished Finder. It's $200 a year and it's just an ad. Now, if you're considering renting out your house, first of all, check with your homeowners association or condo association. Make sure that you can, because if it's against the rules, you could be in big trouble. Or your renters could. That would be even worse. And then also be sure that you have insurance. If something happened to someone renting your house, make sure you have some type of liability insurance for that. Another little income stream for me is that I have a slab on the side of my house, the side of the house that has no windows. So I can't even really see that side of my house. Anyway, the previous owners put some, I think it was called ground asphalt down, and he parked his boat on a trailer there. So I don't use that space. It's not part of the yard. It is fenced in, which is nice. So I started renting it to someone who had a small RV. And then I rented it when they left. I had them for a couple of years, and then I had another couple with a small RV for about a year. It's available right now. Um, but I learned that you can rent if you have a spare bedroom, if you have a garage, a shed. People are looking for storage, and a lot of people like the idea of having storage in a private home rather than a commercial space. So I found out about how to do this from an app called Neighbor. And again, I'm going to list all of this. Some things I'm an affiliate for. Well, I'll get a little something, either cash or discount or points or something. I'll list them all in the description. Anyway, um the app is called Neighbor, and they suggested that I rent the slab for $79 a month, which I did. I didn't realize that they don't take a cut of mine, they take a small cut of mine. So I was making $75 a month, but they were charging $20 a month to the RV owners, which I didn't know. No, I'm talking strictly storage. They cannot live there. That's against the law. I am mostly advertising just in Facebook groups, local Facebook groups now, because then I can charge a little bit more and keep the money. YouTube. So when I first retired, I was still earning a little bit of money off of my old photography channel on YouTube. I was making a little over $100 a month, which has since dried up. It slowly went down, down, down until I didn't have enough viewers to make any money, and I lost my monetization on that. But I would say I made at least $100 a month for 2 years after I quit working on that channel. Now, I never made a lot of money off of that channel, but it was nice that it kept bringing in money. So a few years ago, I started a Catholic YouTube channel. For about the first 2 years, I worked really hard. I uploaded the rosary every day, and I created a YouTube short about saints for every single day. Now the channel grew, but I learned an important an important lesson about YouTube. Shorts are great for getting subscribers. So I think I have over 14,000 subscribers on that channel, but I don't make any money. I stopped doing the shorts about more than a year ago. All the money comes from the rosary. I continue to upload the rosary, and I continue to get some clicks on the shorts, but mostly people are praying the rosary with me, and I'm making about $40 to $50 a month on that. Starting this new channel is a completely different adventure. Over the past few years, I've been studying YouTube, learning about storytelling and thumbnails and titles and hooks and that kind of thing. So I hope that by sharing my experiences, both my successes, my mistakes, all my failures, boy, I get lots of those. I'm hoping I can build another income stream while helping other women, retired women, create a joyful, affordable life after 60. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about a bunch of one-off things. So online surveys and focus groups. I've signed up for several online surveys and focus groups. Personally, I skipped the little $10 surveys. I did do a few of them here and there, but to me, they didn't seem worth the time. Maybe they are. Maybe if you're a more organized person, they would be good for you. I'll put some links again on different companies that offer that kind of thing in the description. I try to only apply for a survey that's going to pay maybe $100. So I don't do it too often, but I do it sometimes. And that $100 every now and again is really, really helpful. I also was on a mock jury. Now, I loved that. It was so interesting. It was a real case, and we listened to each lawyer, and then we broke up. I mean, it was on Zoom. So then they did one of those Zoom classrooms or whatever, I don't know what they're called, and we discussed it and we decided, guilty or not guilty kind of thing. It was fascinating because it was a real case. Now, it's not that easy to qualify for them, especially if you live in a small town like I do. If you live in a big city, you might have a lot more opportunities for this because at least in the company that I was with, you have to be in that county where the case is to be on the jury. I think they paid about $200 for it was maybe 4 or 5 hours long. I can't remember. But I'll tell you what, it was really interesting. If I've ever been super broke and just scrambling for money, I'll cash in my credit card points. Now, I'm going to do a whole video on credit card points. I would not say I'm an expert. I don't spend a lot of time on it. I don't know how to do all the fancy things that people do, but I do know how to get a new credit card every year with big bonuses and how to use them and utilize them for travel because that's mostly what I do. But sometimes I just need the cash and I'll cash them in and I'll get $500 or something like that. I'm sure this is obvious, but if you're the type of person who carries a credit card debt and doesn't pay it off every month, this is not something you should even consider. But I always pay mine off every single month, so I never have to pay the credit card fees. Temp agencies. Now, I've worked through temp agencies many times throughout my life when you just need some money. Most of the jobs are like receptionist jobs where you just answer the phone and greet people as they come in and maybe do some light filing or copying, just that type of thing. But I also worked in a large conference, checking people in. There's tons of temp jobs. The nice thing about temporary work is you can accept assignments according to your schedule. And now that my health is improving, I might start doing that every once in a while again because it's fun too. You meet new people, a new environment. Census. In 2020, I was in bad shape. I was making zero money, but all my bills kept coming in and I owed all these people money all of a sudden, and it was just a really bad time. Fortunately, they had the 2020 census, so I became a census worker. I went door to door and did the census. They paid $17 an hour plus bonuses, and the bonuses were really easy to get. I mean, the standards were very low. So now, of course, the census is over, but once you're in the system, they contact you for other jobs. Now, I haven't applied for any of the other jobs, but I might someday. And if they have another census, of course, I'll be one of the first people they choose to do it again if I want to. So if that's something that sounds interesting to you, go on their website. Again, I'll put the link in the description and just apply and just get your name in there. And they might have something right now for you, especially if you live like in an area like Atlanta or someplace where the census offices are. Mystery shopping. Now, years ago, I really enjoyed mystery shopping. Companies would pay me to visit stores, restaurants, or businesses and secretly evaluate the customer service. I did banks and all the Toyota dealers in Florida. I did at one point. I did work for the Florida Attractions Association. That was really fun, going to zoos and museums and things like that. Unfortunately, the pay has gone down a lot over the years, so I don't do it very often anymore. But what I liked about it is I could do it on my own schedule. So I could say, okay, Thursday afternoon, I'm going to go out and hit all these stores or whatever and, make a couple $100. Now, here's one that's not an income stream, but it's worth checking. My nephew, I was talking to him on the phone and he said, hey, I just went on the unclaimed property site for Florida, and your name's in there that you have money in there. I'm like, what? I don't even know anything about that. So yeah, so there was $80. Hey, $80 is $80. Another thing that I have done when I've been in kind of dire straits is just sell some of my stuff. I mean, we all have stuff that we don't use, we don't need, so just sell it. You never know what you can get. I sold 99% of my photography equipment when I retired, but I was going to give some of it to certain friends they didn't want to drive all the way up here, which is only an hour and a half to get it. So I sold that stuff. I needed money one time and I had that. I also had some designer clothes that someone gave me and I sold them on Poshmark. Okay, I'm just going to close with a few things that I haven't really done, but I've had friends do. Number one is seasonal work. So if you live in a vacation area, there are all kinds of seasonal jobs. Now, I had a friend, she worked in a candy store for the summer up in the north where she lives. Of course, there's always Christmas jobs, retail jobs. Um, if you're in a beach area, there are, beach attendants. There is a lot there. You can work for the National Park Service or maybe even the local Park Service because their busy time is in the summer usually. Just look into it. There's lots of part-time temporary jobs out there. I have a local friend who donates plasma, and it's called donating, but she gets paid. So she does is she donates the plasma, but they pay her for her time. She does it every couple of weeks and makes about $100 a month. Now, it's not like donating blood because plasma they use in medicines, so there's more money in it. um, as a new donor, you can often receive a bonus. And then, depending on where you live and what type of blood you have or whatever, I don't know all the rules, but you make like $30 to $50 each time you donate. Now, that's not something I can do because of my health, but if you're healthy and you meet the requirements, it's worth looking into. I think it takes her an hour and a half every other Sunday she goes. Some of my friends, American and Canadian friends who live in Mexico, teach English online. Um, now, if you don't have a 4-year degree, the pay is pretty low. The Chinese companies are the ones that pay the best, and they do require that you have a 4-year degree. It doesn't matter what it's in. You can have a 4-year degree in art, and that qualifies you. But they enjoy it. They get to teach English to kids who are excited to learn, and they think it's a lot of fun. It's all online, so you can do it anywhere. Also, if you have a specific skill, you could do tutoring locally. Just post your little ad in the local Facebook group saying, "Hey, piano lessons, guitar lessons, whatever you can help and tutor with." I also have an acquaintance who does bookkeeping for one company. She doesn't want to work full time. She doesn't even really want to work part time. She works maybe 5 to 8 hours a month, just taking care of the books for one tiny company. Now, when I had my photography business, for a long time, I had people who were coming in and I was paying way too much money, wondering why I could never get ahead. And then finally, I found a woman who did my bookkeeping for $250 a month. That was all I paid. Now, it didn't take her that long, and I had to be a little more organized because I had to have all my receipts, and she would input the receipts and then reconcile the bank accounts and whatever else. I'm not sure. That's not my strong point. But if you like that kind of thing, you don't have to have a whole job. You can just have one customer. Last thing I'm going to mention is because I was a professional photographer, a lot of people say, "Hey, why don't you sell stock photography?" And I think years ago it was possible to make good money doing that, but I think in today's world, I think it's really hard to make an income selling your photos online. There's just crazy amount of competition and the pay is, per photograph has gone way, way down. But if photography does interest you and you have a nice portfolio or you're interested in doing something like that, my old YouTube channel is still live, even though I'm not making any money anymore. But I had an interview with a stock photographer, Joanne Krebin, and she shares exactly how she built her business, how much money I think she talked about how much money she was making. She had so many good suggestions on how to build a stock photography stock photography portfolio and how to sell your photos online. Again, I'll put the link in the description. Now, nothing I'm doing is making me rich. In fact, I, I'm probably only making $1,000 extra a month, but I am honestly not working very much either. So it's given me choices. I can't really live off my Social Security. I mean, it does pay my bills because my bills are very, very small and I live a very simple lifestyle. And then, of course, I'm so good at the cheap travel and all that other stuff. But the extra money really, really makes my life more comfortable. I will go into my eating habits soon, but I am mostly carnivore. So that extra money helps give me a steak once a week instead of eating hamburger all the time. It helps me go to a play every once in a while. That extra money is oh, and of course, for emergencies, I'm having a car problem right now. So you never know. One thing I've learned is that retirement doesn't mean having to rely on Social Security or getting a job. Maybe your income comes from pet sitting or renting out your house, or maybe you rent a room within your house. I did that in my old house. I rented rooms through Airbnb and I made a nice little side income. Maybe I have a friend in where I used to live that she just goes to the thrift stores, buys designer clothes, and sells them on eBay and Poshmark. Whatever you're doing, those little streams of income add up and give you a better life. Now, I am really interested to hear about the ways that you're making income. Like my friend who does the plasma, I never even heard of that. That was fascinating. Me renting out the side of my house. There are so many different opportunities that we don't even know about it. So I want to hear about yours in the comments.